Okay, welcome to the Fairfield Shellfish Commission on March 11th. Call the meeting to order. Present are Bruce Kiefner, Joe Krejci, Yvette Inhofer, Laura Loeffler, Kendra Wingate, Hugh Stein. So you all should have received this a bountiful amount of material online, and it's all in this sealed packet here, which duplicates what you've already got. So, amongst that stack of documents that you've received are the previous meeting for the meeting of February 11th, 1 month ago. Has anybody reviewed them and had any exceptions or changes or audits?
I haven't. I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's.
Also, Tim is present.
And good evening, Tim.
Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Now, committee reports, clam relay and planting, there's no report. Water and habitat, Lizette, can you give us an update?
Sure. I had it in my hand a minute ago. Okay. So we had 0.8 inches of rain, and we were not closed at all during the month of February.
A good month,
Even with all the snow, it didn't,
but they don't count the snow.
it does,
No.
okay. They don't count, okay.
If it's flakes, it doesn't count. If it's drops, it does.
Okay,
Right.
That is
Because
funny.
as it's melting slower.
I see.
So we
it's not
don't
gonna-
do anything until the gauges hit 1.5. Used to be 1, and we changed it.
And
As
so
much
the
as the
melting
state-
wouldn't cause the gauges
Right,
to go up.
exactly. So
Okay, I get you.
So anything that's gonna happen is we're gonna have a huge rainstorm, it's gonna happen anyway, so the piles of snow aren't going to.
Permits and access, Kendra, can you update us on that?
Yes, that's been status quo. The total number of permits at 90, residents at 41, seniors at 46, and non-resident at 3. And with the social media, it continues to go up. This month, we had 2.6 views in the last 30 days. It's been even higher through the months, but it's been up, obviously, it's February. And we're up to 951 followers. So that continues to rise and peak as well.
Great.
Good. Well, we're on the uptick.
Yes.
Commercial shellfish regulations, no report. Oyster bed development,
No change.
no change. Communications, I did talk to Ian Saki, who is with the rec department, and he is it's not the rec department, it's the community services department, who is the fellow who is the person in charge of this magazine, and I've never met him until one day when I was down there at the gym, and I had a chance, I thanked him and said, gee, this is really great. I don't know whether he knows where we were placed in the magazine, but for those of you who do know, we got the right-hand page, half-page ad, which we've never had before, and it's all And it's in the first half of the book.
Oh, that's
So-
great.
And it's all for free. But I thanked him for all of this, and quite frankly, it's more him submitting this to, I believe they have a contractor who puts the magazine, does all the layout. But what we do by intent is we not only get the submittal at least a week in advance before the deadline, and we also give them the layout in the precise format they need for half and quarter page, so that whatever they want to do, it's easy.
Who designed the ad?
Rich Hagedis.
So in the office here? In the
No,
town?
he's a good friend of mine, who's a graphic artist and does a lot of the graphics for St. Paul's, but is very, very talented. He really knows all this stuff. And when I write a sign, it looks like Bruce wrote it. When Rich writes a sign, it looks like it was done by an artist. And he just has great ideas. And so that's been good. Upwellers, there's no report. For the Conservation Department, our shellfish balance as of the end of February was $33,575.49. We had 64 permits as of the end of February. Is that what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Closure period, as Lizette said, was 0. That's a good number. And the budget is unchanged, and we had, I don't know how much snow, but we had 0.8 inches of rain.
A lot of snow.
Moving on to old business. There's looking at, we want to keep revisiting our plans and objectives. And so we haven't done anything with commercial shellfish regulations insofar as alternates and junior commissioners. This is something that sort of falls on all of us. If we know of, have friends who might be interested in shellfishing, or with kids that might be interested in shellfishing, and sort of would like to climb on board and see what it's like, as an alternate, they are not a commissioner. However, if they can attend meetings, they don't have a vote, but in the event that we do not have a quorum, they can complete the quorum. And also, if it's somebody who might be interested in getting more involved with the commission, it's a good way to get your feet wet. And obviously, junior commissioners, somebody who's going to the aquaculture school or somebody sort of, this intrigues them.
Yeah.
I've got to believe if we are doing 700 to 800 seventh graders every year, that there's eventually going to be some fallout. Somebody says, that's really cool. Even if it's, a tenth of 1%, eventually, just by sheer volume,
Yes.
it's going to happen.
It should
It
get
will
someone.
happen.
So what would a junior commissioner do? I mean, I understand an alternate commissioner, but what would a junior commissioner do? Would the same thing he or she would attend a meeting, meetings? And
He would be like an alternate, although not have the right to fill in.
Right.
But it would be somebody who, in my opinion at least, would be interested in what we're doing, would talk to his friends when we're doing the clinic or when we're doing this, would say, oh, hey, Jimmy, this would be really fun to do. Go out and do the spat collectors or, sort of spread the word. Somebody who has the energy and enthusiasm,
In the past, over the past years, we've had a few students from the aquaculture school who have come, and they've come to, numerous meetings and have wanted to help out with different things. And then they graduate and they go off to college and they're gone.
Okay.
So we just haven't had like a replacement flow of that, but that's what we've had in the past.
Okay, but the idea is they do come to the
They
meeting.
do, they come to the
and
meetings
hear what we
and
discuss.
yeah, they're
and-
interested and
That's
they're
great,
studying this
okay.
in school and that's what we've had before.
And some of them, I
And they've
mean,
reached out to us. They're students who have reached out.
I was just gonna
Well,
say.
And that do attend the aquaculture
My
school.
daughter went there a while ago. but
Yeah,
I
because
think
they
it's
go
a
to the
great
aquaculture school.
It's a great outreach for us.
Maybe we can extend an invitation.
uh,
It'd be nice.
Put it in their school
So-
bulletin. Put it in their school.
They're studying this.
it's kind of the idea, I think we're gonna touch upon this a little bit later when we're talking about volunteers and things. Moving on to Mill River Wetlands, just as a reminder, on May 8th, Mill River Wetlands is doing a program that's going to involve no Fairfield School, but Barnum School and also Walterville School in Bridgeport, which is great.
Where's
And
Walterville School?
it-
Oh, Bridgeport?
It's in Bridgeport, and it's contiguous to Barnum School. I don't know the
Is it
details.
middle school?
They're all seventh graders,
Oh, seventh, that's middle school.
and they're all gonna get the same curriculum. And last year, we had some Barnum kids come to our estuary training. So it's, not only are we neighbors of Ash Creek, community neighbors, and we'll be talking a little bit more about some other stuff that Mill River is doing. But they are a really important partner, I think, for us to learn more about what we're doing and our involvement with the community. And to me, the fact that there's nothing we do until I started, last year was the first time I ever got involved with it. And same thing for Hugh. And we've been doing this for about 3 years, but the number of people whom we're coming in contact with, the number of students is 700 to 800. I mean, it's part of the Fairfield curriculum. It's not just some little field trip that happens. This happens in the classroom and so on. So if a little bit rubs off on a few, that's great. So that's kind of exciting. Relay and market buys, I talked to John Short about this, and as you may remember, during our send-off for John in January, we had Bloom Brothers and we had Gary from G&B Shellfish here. And these are our partners. G&B is the company, if we do a relay, I believe it's G&B boats that come over here and go to the shellfish beds off of Fairfield, get clams, and then we redeposit them on our beds, but we have to wait 2 weeks. This is not a simple matter. In other words, we have to go over to Stratford, get on board the boat in the morning, come over to Fairfield, excavate if you want for clams, get, I don't know, 15 or 20,000 clams or more, and then distribute them out there. But it has to be done, needless to say, because you're on a boat, when there's enough water, in other words, at high tide. So it has to be high tide over the shellfish beds, because that's where we go at low tide, because there's no water. So we have to have about a 1 p.m. high tide, and so you got to, I've done some looking, but you got to look at the tide tables, and it's not at your convenience, it's where the moon wants to be.
Yeah, right.
You can't pick it, yeah.
And so that's one way of doing it. The second way that we do it is by a market buy. And with the market buy, we contact Gary and we say, we've approved $1,500 worth on a market buy. What are we gonna get for $1,500? So he starts accumulating, we tell him a couple weeks in advance, putting aside, we're in effect buying wholesale.
Yeah.
And
I was
then
gonna ask if you-
we need to
Super
coordinate
wholesale.
with Tim usually, or Conservation Department, and because I don't have a truck, John would go over there with his pickup truck and get all the clams. But sometimes we can, I believe we can work with Conservation, go over there, pick them up, got buckets and buckets of clams, and then, again, you have to coordinate this, the timing, when are we gonna pick them up? And then we have to get them from the truck to a boat, and that's something else we need to work on, because the boat is another issue, because our current boat is not serviceable. Aw Shucks is reached the end of its service, safe and useful life. We'll talk about a replacement, but in the meantime, we may have something, a loaner that we can use, but those details. So that's a market buy. There is no closure period after a market buy, because those are basically ready-to-eat clams, just like you might get in the fish market.
Restaurant, yeah.
They're more expensive, and there is no closure period. In both cases, we need to coordinate this and get a permit from the Bureau of Agriculture and coordinate all of that. And after the relay, when we do a relay, we not only have to get a permit, but then, and wait 2 weeks, but then we have to bring samples of 15 clams that we've deposited, and they have to be checked. We have to take them down to the lab in Milford to have a meat sample done. So this is all, because they're coming from restricted beds, we're putting, so there's a whole process to it. But it's not terribly difficult, it's just procedural. You gotta go through the steps. And
And it's once per season?
no, we typically, we do, it varies. Obviously,
Before the.
the relays are good because you get a lot of clams.
You get more for your money, because you're not buying the clams. We're using our own clams, they're out there.
Oh, okay.
So it all depends on the tides, the closures, how the spring has been. If it's been a really rainy spring, then, the beds have been closed longer, it's harder to do something like that. In which case, we've done market buys right before like we're putting down clams on Friday for a clinic on Saturday morning. They put them out, they close the beds,
And then, okay,
and then we open them up that morning at the start of the clinic.
right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, because
Right.
you don't, and so if we could do a relay in early May,
Be great.
it'd be great. I looked at some tide dates, and there is a Friday with a high tide. I need to check with John and with GMB and to find out. And then it's all, you can find a perfect day, and then the weather is crummy. It's,
Yeah.
Not a factor.
you got a nor'easter coming, or it's really blowing and you're not gonna do it.
Right.
And unfortunately, a rain date, if it's gonna blow.
We never got,
for a
we
couple-
wanted to get a second relay, we wanted to get a relay in this year, and we never got one in.
No,
Right.
That's what I was gonna ask you, Lizette, like, how many relays did we do last year? We did
no,
none.
we did no relays.
How
We
many
did no-
market buys did we do last year?
Two?
Two or three.
Okay, that's typical of 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think that we have to be very sensitive to the fact that if people go out there and they can't find clams,
Right, that's what the permits are paying for, they're paying for us to go out there and
they
find
get
clams.
disenchanted,
They
so.
won't be happy.
Yeah.
But relays are less expensive. The cost per clam, and we've talked about this, I don't remember all the numbers, the cost per clam for a relay is much, much, much less, because you get a lot more, probably at least twice or maybe 3 times as many clams for the same amount of money as you do if you do market buy. And it all depends upon the time of the year. If you're close to Fourth of July or something like this.
Yeah.
So there's no
Like in the
cap?
past, we put them down. If we haven't been able to get them in before the clinic, we've tried to get one in before 4th of July, and we shut down. So like right after a clinic, we might try to do a relay and shut the beds. So kind of depending when that relay or when the clinic falls,
Is there a
it's all weather and tide.
Is there a maximum on how many they can take?
I don't know.
What?
For a relay, you mean?
The clam clinic?
Yeah. For the harvesting of
Oh,
the,
We're just
wait.
throwing,
for both?
For an individual?
Yeah, I mean, can somebody go out there and just,
No. No, they're limited to half a bushel.
okay, half a bushel?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of clams though, right?
That's a lot of clams.
yeah.
I mean, I went to Bloom this weekend because I went to the oyster beds, which were not good. And I asked for 6 clams to make quickie stuffies, and came home with like 2 dozen. I'm like, here are clams. I'm giving clams out to people because it ends up being a lot of clams. It's more than you think.
Well, I have to tell you, I've had a license for a couple of years now, and I go randomly. I've never gone there and not gotten at least 2 dozen clams. Because I cut it off there, because that's when I make clam chowder.
Right, because you kind of know, like you realize,
Yeah, I don't want to, and I
Like,
usually,
bring what
and
you're
I
gonna
get
use.
it in less than an
Who's
hour.
policing?
So I've never been there
No.
and not gotten anything. I guess
it's
it's my
honor.
my
If you
point.
see it, you can call.
So we want to keep our permittees happy, and we want to, bottom line, as Lizette is saying, if we can do a relay in early May, because the water, it depends how quickly the water
It
warms
depends
up.
on water temperatures, whether or not we can do it.
So if the water gets right quickly, and the tide is right, and the weather is right, then we could ideally do it at the beginning of May, and people would be less sensitive to being shut down for 2 weeks, because it's not as warm. And the weather's not as warm and everything else. And then we could do a market buy if we needed to, before the clinic, or we could do a market buy before the 4th of July. We could,
And then there's also Labor Day. So like sometimes we close down beginning of August, or like first week of August, and you close down for the 2 weeks. So you're opened up again for Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
so, there are options, but
Okay.
it's something,
You try to aim for those, but there are no guarantees, again, because of tides and weather
I
and
mean,
availability, whatever.
and you can have a great plan. I mean, a couple years ago, we couldn't do the clam clinic in June because the tides didn't cooperate. There were no June tides that were in the morning. They were all,
On a weekend.
some crazy, on a
Because-
weekend.
Right, because then they won't let us
Landfill.
do it because the rec department won't let us do it because of the beach goers and things like that. So once it gets to a certain point in the day, like we can't be doing a clam clinic at noon.
Right.
Like we need to be doing it early in the morning.
Yeah, before the,
And, we're kind of heading out as the majority of beachgoers are coming in for the day. Oh, that was a great clinic, that one in the afternoon
Well, but-
in September.
But most beachgoers don't go to low tide. So we're leaving. I mean, the clinics.
right.
Well, there are a lot. There are a lot that are down there.
Well, some little kids.
So at Sasko, because Sasko's not like Sasko has a big
Right.
welcoming sandbar. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
go for low tide or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's
Horseshoe
a-
crabs.
I think if it's a Saturday.
No, I
I
mean,
think
I
if it's a
remember.
Saturday, like they're going regardless.
Safer, yeah.
Well, I mean, Sasko, I'm amazed. I was out oystering just, I don't know, last month around our last meeting, and I was amazed, how many cars are down there. There are always cars there for Sunset. I mean,
yeah.
There,
It's a great
there was
smile.
the best
one,
sunset.
and I got my oysters, and there was a group of folks that were having one of those picnic tables, and they were grilling and standing around in their parkas, all having a really good time. And so I went to them afterwards, and I said, gee, this is just like the summertime, but you're wearing different clothes. Well,
Yeah.
none of them, they were, I think, a European, I don't know where they were from, but I think only one of them spoke English. But we talked about oysters and stuff. And then, so I put all my stuff in the car, and I took a couple of oysters over to them, and, because they had the fire going, and I put them down on their grill, because they'd open up. And then I got home and discovered I had left my rake
Oh,
at home. So I drive back, it's 2 hours later, and they're still there. And I drive up, and I had
And
parked.
this is February.
And now they have a whole grill full of oysters because
I had
they're showing them where they are.
Like in Norway.
I was
Well,
about,
I've got to say,
I had
mean,
parked
it's
about
interesting.
100 feet away, and I'm looking around for my rake. Oh, I must have lost it. And one of them walked up and said, oh, excuse me, did you leave your rake? And he had seen it.
Hello, am I in the right place here?
What-
I'm
that
looking
depends.
611, Old Post Road for the hearing.
It might be a different room.
Yeah.
Not-
You know where that
Across
is?
the hall.
Are you
She's
for the
calling you.
housing
She's
committee?
calling
Are you
TBC
for
or
the
something.
housing?
For the tax, but yes. She knows, thank
Okay.
you, know.
Oh, is that
You're
the?
for,
It's
no,
11.
for an assessment?
That's next, that's next door,
I
so
saw
it's
something
11
floating
post.
around on-
That's what I was wondering.
So anyway, that was kind of neat, because they, we chatted, and how did you like the oysters? Oh, they were delicious. You know,
ate them.
It was
That's
fun.
great.
So you were oystering in February?
Yeah,
So we went on,
yeah.
we went
Good
on
for you.
Sunday. We couldn't find any.
Wieners?
Oh, I found there were
Were
a
they to the
lot.
left? Where are they? To the left?
They're all in the,
The right in the grass?
all in the jetty.
On the jetty. In the jetty.
And you have to go out and measure them,
Right.
because there are a lot of them, and
not
a
find
lot
them.
of them aren't big enough, so that
Interesting.
I go out there and measure them and then release them, but it's a lot of crawling around on the rocks. But
So to the right there, in the grasses in that area there.
but
You
I
used to
went,
be able to just walk and pick them up, and there were none. There used to be, we used to go and be able to get 2,000 in 10 minutes.
but this is, I go to the
Yeah.
tide mark and walk all the way down on the inside of the jetty, and then I go around the end and come back. And then I make another
Yeah.
sweep. But,
So I have a question. The clams eliminate bacteria from the water. They're filter feeders. At least they do.
Right, exactly.
Naturally.
Right.
That's the benefit. Isn't that a kind of a perceived benefit of what we do, and shouldn't we do the clams, whether it's a market buy or whatever is most effective as a filter feeder?
We're putting them,
Clean the water, at
well,
least give the
we have
perception that we're trying
them,
to.
well, that's what they're doing in the natural beds that we don't allow. We have beds that we don't
Protected
allow
beds,
people, the
yeah.
protected beds. So yes, that's what's happening there. But this we're putting into the beds for the purpose of people having recreational shellfish beds.
Okay, so there's the protected beds
Right,
that, where we harvest for the.
right.
For the,
They're full. Like there's,
okay,
so we're not like depleting them by any means.
I see.
But you're getting them from the beds.
Like we're not depleting them.
So do we have a map of where the beds are?
Yeah, 20,000.
yes.
Yeah, when you get your license.
Yeah, that's too many.
That part I don't,
We,
I don't get it.
I mean, the.
John sent out that.
Yes, there is.
There's I'll check on that. The Bureau of Agriculture has a GIS map, and all GIS has layers in it, so you can choose different layers. But you can go in there and see the shellfish beds. You can, because they're all numbered. There's 77,000 acres of shellfish beds out there, and so they're leased out just like you leased land to farm.
Where is that?
And so the state leases out these beds to Bloom and other people like this, and smaller people. Some people have 50 acres and some have 500 or
Right.
1,000 or whatever.
Where is that? Milford? All up the, no,
All
ours.
over?
Like, so like our.
In Long Island
So like
Sound.
here's our recreational bed, right?
Yep.
There's our, out here, our commercial, like,
Commercial.
Okay.
all commercial, you'll see all the oysters boats out there. Those are all, when you're in Bloom, actually, he has a map and it shows it, like literally up the coast, all the different beds that they.
They're numbered.
They can't come into Fairfield.
No. So they can't come into
No,
like,
there
so they
there
can't
are,
come into like Ash Creek.
Right, so they're out
Things like
here.
that.
Where are the farming beds? They're closer to the town.
They're-
Sure.
No, they're
Sasko.
out.
He's talking about where the clinic
Here
is.
we get the relay.
Well, we get when we
No,
restock.
it's- I think they were different areas. John knows exactly, is that the one by Sunken Island or whatever?
That's why I asked for the map.
no, I can't tell you offhand, Hugh, other than the fact that they are
exist.
not one of the leased beds, but there are other areas that are
Right.
not leased that we can go and harvest clams.
Okay.
But because they are not, I'm using the wrong word, but certified, those beds, those shellfish require a 2-week.
In our bed, in the open area to then filter clean. Because where they are isn't clean. So that's what we're talking like the areas that are
I'm
closed.
trying to visualize the workflow there, and I can't without seeing where the beds are. So
Yeah,
they exist.
it's,
I trust you.
Yeah, they're,
all I would say that it is proximate to Sasko Beach. In other words, they're not going very far. They come,
right.
say, between,
Sasko outside there,
yeah,
Southport.
between
Then they lead up into
Southport Beach and Sasko Beach and somewhere in that area, because it's not very far, they'll excavate clams. Okay, so,
Quick question on that. When do we, or when does the decision have to be made whether we're doing a market buy or a harvesting?
well,
What did you call it?
we need to
The
look
relay.
at some dates. We need to, we cannot do a relay
It is weather.
until the water temperature is 50 degrees, right?
54?
I thought, well,
But is a
So
relay-
we're 50 it's 50 something.
Is the relay plan A and the market buy is kind of plan B? Is that the way it goes? Sort of?
yeah, but Laura, it depends, because if the timing for a relay
Tides.
is close to, is not a desirable time, because when you think about it this way, when you do a relay, it means you're gonna be closed for 2 weeks.
But it sounds like a lot of variables, more variables, but it's less money, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Just
yeah,
trying
you
to
don't,
figure
you,
it
Right.
you,
Cost
you
benefit.
have to,
Yeah.
you have to have a high tide to put the clams out. But if you do a market buy, it could be a 2 o'clock high tide as opposed to a 1 o'clock, because you don't have to.
Right.
So you have more flexibility.
And how much advance notice would you have to give someone for a market buy? Like when you,
Couple weeks,
when you pull the, yeah, okay.
When's the clinic?
June 20th.
20th. So you'd have to tell them, but you said you put them out just before.
Yeah, we'd put them out,
As
a
close
day or
as
two.
possible, yeah.
But you're buying clams off of them that exist. They're not going out and fishing for you. I mean, harvesting, right?
They're not specifically for us. I mean, they're doing their regular
No, but
harvesting.
they'll have them and we'll say, we'd like to.
No, well,
buy-"
that's,
What is
that's,
wholesale getting them and dropping them?
so
Is that the process?
Buying them from the fish market.
No, I understand. So we're not saying we need 20,000 clams and they're running.
Right, yeah.
They're not
what
harvesting.
we would do is we would tell
Okay.
P&G,
That
we
sounds
would
so-
like to do a market buy
Okay.
in a couple of weeks. So they would start putting aside
Okay.
clams
Okay.
to fulfill our order, so to speak.
Right.
And then once we get them, then we gotta go pick them up. They're iced down, obviously they have to be kept cool, and then in a fairly
And-
timely manner distributed.
Right, it has to be also a timing thing, whether or not there are the people available to help do the relay compared to when, or
Yeah, but how
market
much
buy.
manpower, woman power do you need to get those 20,000 clams on the relay? Is that hours and hours and
I,
25 people or?
Oh, no.
They go out in one boat. They go out in one boat.
I
and
can't
they just-
imagine getting
in
20.
other words, they do.
Okay.
if
Conservation
one of
knows,
us-
right, Tim?
in the
Picturing
pa-
it with a rake and I'm not getting, not,
In the past, John Short did virtually all of this, and he knows these guys, and he loves to
And
do
the,
this.
the conservation department, they know how it's done and.
okay. It's not like I was picturing all these
Tim
people.
Bishop's an
I was
expert at
picturing
it.
us on the,
No,
I was too. So we're not doing that part.
okay. It's not us doing it at
Well,
Sasko.
There'll be one of us will be on the boat.
Okay.
but there's only that room
Oh,
for really
okay.
anybody else.
What
Like, it's-
you're now seeing
Yeah.
with Tim,
Thank you, Tim.
No problem. So there's Sasko. Rec beds are in green. If I zoom out a little bit, you'll see all the different bed lots off the coast.
Wow.
Oh, that's very cool.
Are these,
That is cool.
So it's extensive.
Wow.
I just wanted to show you what those look like off of our coastline.
Pink is clams.
and I don't know which,
Brown is town,
State managed.
green is rec,
That is
yellow is
so.
natural.
Wow, I can't believe, I
That
didn't know we
green
had
area,
that
that's
many
like-
yeah, I didn't
Bet.
realize it
to
was that.
sustain
Look
that.
at the pretty colors.
oh yeah, they're,
Alyssa.
Yes.
Green is.
and if you were to zoom out and look at Long Island Sound, it would look like a
Curve
crossword
where the
puzzle.
green is.
Yeah.
Whole sound.
That's Sasko. See that curve?
That's where that's our recreational bed.
Who sells those
The state.
boxes?
Wow.
Wow.
We're so small.
How much? How much for a box? My
I
own
love the
box.
map. It's so pretty.
So if I can, I'm just.
Some of these boxes
Ones
are
that are in
hundreds
the
of
red.
acres.
Those are commercial beds.
And those are run by the state?
Yes, and they're leased out to
And brown is.
To
Bloom or
anybody.
B&G or
Oh,
whomever.
I get you,
So
okay.
in other words, that might be Joe Cratchy's, and that might be Bruce Kiefner's, and this is Hugh Stein's, and this is Kendra's, and
Tim, can you point out where we get them from for a relay? Or one of the areas we go to, right? Is it where the Sunken Island or?
Yeah, I can't get back to. There we go.
I don't see the brown one.
Yeah, I actually don't. I haven't been on the boat when we have
They've done
gone
it?
off.
Okay,
I'm not sure which one actually.
I think it's off there to the right side.
Does anyone
I think
document
it's out there
that?
somewhere.
It'd be so cool to do a video.
That's where they
with
get
But
it.
some of these are hundreds of acres, so
Um,
it's hard to, you know.
Thank you,
That
Tim.
would make it
Oh,
great.
that's great.
It's like a
Just
great.
this box here is 122 acres to put it into scope. That's about half the size of Lake Mohegan open space.
Wow.
open space, not just the lake.
Right, exactly. The entire forest. So I just wanted to show you and give it some context.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
That's great.
That's always
very good.
helpful.
That's very helpful.
I'm starting to get it now.
Not
My image of raking up
very well.
20,000 clams.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait, what?
What a relief.
Well, the other thing is,
So our first one
we
is
don't know with all the
exactly.
determining factors, and
Well, a lot more
it's gonna be a
variable.
scramble to
Okay.
advertise and get enough people to know.
Okay, so now that
For what?
thank you, Tim. Now that we have a roadmap, so to speak,
We always have enough people.
Um,
Having people is never a problem.
we want to, any more discussion on relay or market buys?
No.
Okay, let's move on to new business. Joe's gonna, Save the Sound had this really great webinar that came up, and I don't know of anybody else who had a chance to watch it, but Joe did, and he's gonna sort of give us an overview about DNA analysis. The reason I mention this is because we've been trying to track down the water quality problems at Southport Beach. And it's the belief correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but that the problems are originating somewhere on the Mill River. And we've done a lot of
Correct.
testing. Would you agree with that, or? And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. It's part of the problem to develop a solution is we don't know where it's coming from. We don't know if it's goose, if it's dog, if it's human septic, and this intro to your topic, Bruce.
so what Joe will talk about this, what they did, and they had that same question. What's the creature that's creating the pollution? And it was four-legged.
Really?
Well, yeah, it was
Not
very,
two?
and thanks, Tim, for sending this on, because Tim had sent this around.
Two-legged?
But this is the thing that's the Save the Sound group put on, a webinar. And what the problem was, is they were trying to identify in Branford on Short Beach, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Short Beach, but what they were having is not only having to close their beach when it rains, but even when it didn't rain, they were having to close their beach. So they were, because of the E. coli bacteria that was in the water. And so they were trying to figure out what was the source of the bacteria and how could they go about fixing it. And so it was kind of interesting through this use of DNA analysis, because the initial thing, as they said in the webinars, people thought maybe there was a problem with the human sewerage. But it wasn't. It was they through the DNA analysis, they break it down into human waste, canine waste, and bird waste. And they determined that it was the dogs that was causing the issue. And what was kind of interesting, the beach was near a dog park.
I was just gonna ask, is it a New York dog?
And so that was part of the issue. But what's kind of interesting to me is how they use an analysis like this just to figure out what the cause of, where was the poop coming from, basically, to get a little graphic about it. And then when you realize you have a problem, how do you go about solving it? And that's what I thought was very interesting too as part of this seminar, webinars. You had to get all these people together because you didn't want to go out and say, thou shalt not walk your dog, because you would alienate all the dog walkers. But what they did was a great PR program where they really did change the habits of some of the dog owners as far as how they handle the dog poop. And net at the end of it, they were successful in reducing the amount of E. coli that was in the water.
Were they
And so
not
didn't have to close-
scooping? Is that?
Well,
There's all kinds
I
of
mean-
programs, but what I thought, Kendra, was interesting to me is people make assumptions of why we have pollution. And this was a thing that they have now through this DNA process where they can actually identify what is the real reason. Now, the Mill River, of course, I don't know, Tim, you know better than I, but, runs through a lot of areas, open space. I have them right behind my house. And so you have a lot of people that walk their dogs. I thought maybe you have a lot of geese that you have on golf courses, and I know you mentioned Lake Mohegan. I thought maybe there were a lot of geese up at Lake Mohegan that caused the problem. But people make assumptions and they think this is the reason, and it was through this DNA analysis, they're actually able to identify what the real cause of the problem is. And then you can go ahead and figure out, okay, how do we address it? And this was good as far as they got the health department involved with this. They got all kinds of people in the town of Branford involved in addressing this, so that people felt, instead of being a dog owner, instead of being told you can't do something, they emphasized the fact of being a good citizen and blah, 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 and it worked for them. So it was kind of a success story.
Fantastic.
I mean,
So that's why I thought it was kind of good on both
Yeah.
fronts. Yeah.
no, I think two things that I find to take away. One is that they were able to identify the source, and two, that my experience with dog owners, and I think Tim feels this very painfully, the dog owners, there's a sense of entitlement that they can do what they want, where they want, and if you hike on the Appalachian Trail, if you bring it in, you take it out, and that's everything,
I agree.
and including toilet paper. And that, because if you got 1 million hikers leaving toilet paper around, you got a problem.
Right.
And these people that, I see it, anywhere you go, and Tim has hundreds of acres of conservation property where if you challenge some of these people, it's dicey.
Yep.
And, they don't, oh, it's not me. It's always somebody else. But, quite frankly, why should town conservation employees have to empty barrels of bags of dog poop? Why can't you take it home? They feel it's, oh, that's the responsibility of the town. But half the time, they leave the bags on the side of the road or on a trail.
Wait, that's people who pick it
They
up.
didn't even take it around the
And-
block.
I'm not even talking about people who don't pick it up.
And then you have two problems. You have poop and plastic. But the fact that they were able to get the dog owners to become aware of this and act is phenomenal. I don't know what it is that is causing the problem on Southport Beach. And, we've tried, and we can probably get some of these same people. They had people
We
from.
did DNA testing at one point.
Really?
They-
I was
Did
gonna say,
they,
can we?
did they figure
We
out?
did years ago. We did.
Can we do
came
it
back as E.
again?
coli. We did stuff.
So Joe,
It was
are we
expensive
making
and
the
it-
assumption
it's not-
because they found
it
it
doesn't
in
matter.
Hanford that it was
We
dogs?
can't do anything about it.
Oh, no,
It's
no.
up to the river.
We're not making that
No,
assumption.
no,
But
but
we
I
have to know
think
exactly where
what
up
they
the
were
river
trying
it
to
comes
do
from.
you is this
Years
group
ago,
Save the Sound
The bed
has
sheets
the
ended up closing
facilities
with stuff
now
that
with
was
this
open.
DNA testing.
After, like,
And so what they were,
Big
I don't know if it was a sales job
Some
or
of the
what,
big,
but basically they were saying that if
shows
you
up
have
at
a
the
problem in part of
find,
your
like,
in
in
your
the
town,
it'd be closed.
the way, you gotta figure out
To
what
do
it
with
is.
the sea
And
lodge.
so now, when you have this DNA
There
testing.
are questions
you
of whether or
can
not the sea
figure
lodge
out
has a
whether it was
crack.
I don't remember there, but I had
or
heard.
Crack in the.
Probably a little bit of
I
a
heard that.
sales job, a little bit of education.
What?
Well, it was, but I mean, what I thought was
Yeah,
that's
interesting
gotta be
about
fixed.
it
That
is
has-
the fact they had this testing,
No.
and then how you go about.
That kind of testing is above our
How
budget.
you take care of it.
Someone else got to
And
do
we know down by the harbor where everybody
the
walks their
testing
dog.
for it, I
Yeah.
guess,
Oh, pay for the
A
testing?
lot of dog
Yeah.
go to
Test
the
the
bathroom
pipe.
down there. I don't know
Yes, yeah.
how it gets into
Determine
the
I've
Water.
heard
water.
that
Where it
rumor.
was.
Yeah, it could be the sea
But
lodge.
to what form?
You need a liaison.
But there's a lot of dogs going to the bathroom down
Yeah,
there.
but I mean, I'm sure, Tim, you would probably know, I would bet this runs along the whole Mill River, because I have the open space behind me.
Kids in the water.
The Mill River
You know
runs
what I mean?
right through it. I am sure you have the same issue.
Yeah, it's a problem on all the open spaces.
I mean,
Is it, Tim, the same thing with
Well-
with dogs?
Yeah, especially Mohegan's the most trafficked and most regionally known dog area. So I would put my money on that being the biggest issue. If you did any surface water analysis in that area downstream.
well,
And you know, it's funny, Tim, because I know for years, people told me Lake Mohegan was closed because of the geese. Not because of the dogs. Seriously, I mean, I'm showing my ignorance, but I'm just saying what the word is out there is why do they close Lake Mohegan so frequently? And I was told by many people, oh, it's because of the geese. So I mean, again, this gets to
Those are
the
the
purpose
people
of this
those are the
webinar.
people that are
If
taking
I
the
may,
dog.
if I may,
Well-
the purpose of this webinar was people have assumptions of what causes pollution. And that's what they were trying to get at is through this DNA testing, you can isolate what the real cause of the pollution is. So I'm just mentioning this to you, Tim, as an example of what I always thought why Lake Mohegan had a problem was because of the geese. And now we think it may be canine, so.
and they had folks from Southern, Yale, and Brown universities on the lab, doing the lab work. So this was not, I got the sense that this was a newer lab analysis that they were
Right.
employing. This isn't something that was off the shelf in the past. It was a new technology that was able to give this granular analysis. So, and the beautiful part about it is that, Tim, you've got a relationship with Save the Sound already because of the water sampling you're doing. And we can follow up, as and we've talked about this with Sands Cleary and the health department, is to, what's a reasonable way to do it? And how frequently do you test, because if it's north of the tide mill, if it's south of the tide mill, and then how do you find out, specifically where the worst areas are? But it was fascinating.
From the time that you identify it and do something about it, how long does it actually take to remediate, to clean the water?
Well, this one, it was like a 2-year period after they had identified what the cause of it. It was a 2-year period of changing people's habits, at least in this particular instance. You look at that.
For habit changing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lizette, I was just wondering, have we ever closed our beds at Sasco for reasons other than rain?
Yes.
We have. Okay.
We had a real sewage problem years ago, and we did a whole septic system testing. That study, Tim, was done a long time ago, wasn't it? With Tom
Yeah, it
Stanky.
was
But
before my time.
I mean, there was one period of time, yes, because, so years ago, because when I first started clamming, 20 plus years ago, we were clamming in Southport, we were clamming in Sasco, and then there was whatever the issue was, and it all closed down.
Both closed
And then
down.
Southport never reopened.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't
And
realize.
they
you
were
ever-
closed for a number of years.
Where in Southport Beach?
Southport Beach, never
Southport Beach.
reopened.
Huh.
And
So-
in Southport Beach, you had steamers, you had the steamers here, you had oysters, you had the clams, you had razor clams, like.
That's a great spot.
it was
It
a great
is. I would have
spot.
Way
thought.
out.
That, yeah.
Yeah, the tag was way out, that's when you get the razor clams,
Yeah.
the steamers there. Zillions. And it's like, not, you're
awesome.
not digging in like rock like you were,
Yes.
Well, we can't
It
do it
never-
now because
Yep.
of the
the numbers.
whatever.
first, we need to identify the problem, and once we have identified the problem, then you gotta figure out how to fix it. And fixing the problem took Brentford
Time.
a long time because
So how do we identify it? Where's Tim Murray working on that?
with the eDNA, we'd have to,
We did a series for a while, we were taking tests, you were part of that after every rain and.
we can follow up on this, but it gives us a good launching pad to move forward and people whom we can talk to. Let's keep going here. It turns out that our November meeting, which seems like a long way away, but that's on Veterans Day, November 11th. So my suggestion would be either to move the meeting to a week early to November 4th, or a week later to November 18th. Any preference?
I would prefer earlier.
I think earlier. I
Early
think
would
18th
be
is getting too
better.
close to the holiday.
Okay, so we will change the date to November 4th, and because it's not on our schedule, it will be considered to be a special meeting, but we will go to November 4th for that. Now, let's see. The pre-submission council.
November 4th. Is that any extra after election day?
Yes. Now, application, pre-submission.
This is here if you want.
Isn't, the pre-submission was, Tim, wasn't that for 471 Turney Road, which you now have a COP on?
The pre-submission actually is Matt from Race is on the meeting. It's for the second Riverside Drive tide gate.
Okay,
This is Matt Schuler from Race Coast Engineering. I can share my screen and run through the plans if you guys would like.
you're a very patient man.
Thank you.
All right. Give me a second here while I get this going.
Who blurs out the background?
Can everyone see the title page for plan set on the screen?
Right. This is Devin Santis Company?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm one of his neighbors.
All right. So this project is the Riverside Tide Gate replacement. This kind of shows where it is in the USGS topographic map. Zooming in, it's part of this open space. I think it's Ash Creek Open Space is the name of it. And it's over the soil berm just south of Riverside Drive here. So the existing structure, sure many of you are familiar with it, self-regulating tide gate with a 36-inch diameter corrugated metal pipe through a soil berm. That 36-inch diameter corrugated metal pipe interfaces an approximate 10-foot diameter surge chamber. And showing it in section view, this is kind of how the system operates with self-regulating tide gate on the Ash Creek side, and then obviously the open end and the upland estuary. We did some site-specific water level monitoring for this to determine our tidal elevations. Mean low water and high water on the Ash Creek side generally correspond with Bridgeport tidal elevations, whereas the estuary side, due to the SRT, limits high water to about 1.2 feet in elevation, and then limits discharge of the estuary down to a low water elevation of about 0.4. We're proposing to put in a new self-regulating tide gate structure with an additional 36-inch diameter pipe with a sluice gate on it that can be manually operated and opened after flood events to allow the estuary to drain out. We prepared a whole hydraulic and hydrologic study for this site to determine the sizing of the pipe to get performance criteria of drainage of this estuary within a 12-hour period following the 100-year storm event. This structure is going to consist of concrete head walls, 36-inch diameter HDPE pipe, a new self-regulating tide gate, and a sluice gate, as I mentioned earlier. And here's typically what a section that's going to look like. This will be the final plan with grading, basically restoring all grades, restoring wetlands impacted, and creating new wetlands. Don't anticipate this to have any impacts on shellfish. Part of our restoration, we're going to be using the existing riprap in the intertidal area as tow protection for the wetland vegetation creation and restoration areas. I would think that would be providing a good solid surface for any shellfish to bind to and grow in the future. So more or less keeping the site the same, just with a new, more robust, resilient structure. So if anyone wants to go over anything or has any questions, feel free.
I went there yesterday and looked at the site, and I looked at the tidal gate side, and it appeared to me there was no shellfish activity there. Not that I could see without
Sorry, I
flying.
have to go. I'm sorry. You need a quorum or anything?
We always like that.
What was the address on that?
So I don't see that
Where's the Trinity Road?
any shellfish activity that presently there. Perhaps if there were shell, there might be some activity, but it doesn't. I couldn't see any oysters there.
As a background, we had proposed placing mulch as part of this project to encourage oyster development in this area. Upon our consultation with Dave Carey, who's the Connecticut Bureau of Aquaculture consultant, I guess, for lack of a better term, he advised against placing mulch in this area to not disturb the current shellfish populations with concerns of overpopulation and spread of disease and higher mortality rates with the shellfish population. That's just some background, just to highlight that we have explored the option of placing mulch here.
Okay.
Hey, Matt, I have a question. I think in the report here, it said that I guess, was this firm made a determination that this did not have any impact on the shellfish? Is that correct?
There's no anticipated impacts on shellfish.
Okay,
We
and I
didn't,
was just
we didn't
wondering
propose
why.
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, my question then is, what was the basis for that? I was just curious.
The basis is essentially zero change in the site characteristics. We're maintaining water levels on both sides of this berm structure. The overall footprint of this structure is going to slightly increase. The amount of hardened structures in this area is going to increase slightly. So if anything, we'd be providing a hard surface for oyster to bind to, or shellfish to bind to grow. But again, upon consultation with Dave Carey, Bureau of Aquaculture, he concurred no impacts are anticipated due to minimal changes in site characteristics.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, now moving ahead to, that's item 3. Item 4, 1220 Beach Road and 1810 Fairfield Beach Road. Both of those Fairfield Beach Road addresses have been previously approved, so no action, further action needs to be taken there. 471 Turney Road has been previously approved, and DEEP has given them a certificate of permission, COP, which basically says that you can proceed and you've got a deadline within which to do it. So we need to take no further action there. Moving on to item number 7, which is notice of tentative determination at Pequot Yacht Club. I'm not only a member of Pequot Yacht Club, but I'm quite familiar with this project. Anything that I'm suggesting will be of no benefit to Pequot. So therefore, if we just, as we move forward in the discussion, I feel no reason to recuse myself. There are 2 projects that are involved under this permit request. One is to replace the docks, which are approximately 35 years old and have reached their end of life. They're floating concrete docks. Secondly, and not to be done at the same time, the docks will be done probably this fall if everything can come together in time. The other half of this project, or other portion of this project, is repairing the seawall, which is approximately 550 feet in length. This is a stone chinked seawall, which has been rechinked, and it's probably 200 years old. And it's starting to fail. We've made remediation to it, but that will be repaired sometime in the future. Bear in mind, this permit is good for 5 years. And it's not going to be a quick or inexpensive project. They will be replacing it by requirement in 30-foot sections, which means putting in sheet pile, putting in concrete foundation, pouring concrete, and then moving on to the next section. And they will also be raising the grade in some areas, because if you're familiar with Perry Green floods at big tides. However, Perry Green, because it has no commercial use whatsoever, DEEP, and it may have been HDC, would not let them raise the elevation. The yacht club, because the part of the parking lot and the lawn regularly get flooded at high tide, so they're going to be raising the elevation of the seawall. I can't remember the exact amount, but it's not gonna be universal, but as you go towards Perry Green, it will be elevated. There's a comment period that ends this week. My only comment that I want to make on behalf of the Shellfish Commission, Joe and I went down there yesterday and looked at it, and there are oysters growing on the first, I'd say 4 feet of the seawall. And all we're going to do is ask the yacht club to notify us at least 60 days in advance of commencement of construction, so that we can make arrangements to have the oysters removed. And there are a lot of oyster there, but they'll have to be hand raked off, or some shellfish person would have to figure it out. But there are a lot of oysters. But you're not gonna go in there by boat. You have to go in there at low tide and scrape them off and put them in the buckets. But that's my only suggestion. The only comment that Fairfield Shellfish Commission requests that we get 60-day notice prior to commencement of seawall construction in order to make accommodations to remove shellfish.
And how feasible is it to go in there and to knock those down? Like,
I don't know. It's nothing that we, as a commission, I think would want to do. It would be a horrible. I mean,
right. So is it even doable? Like, do you think that may be a case of letting one of the commercial people go? I don't know even who would do that.
I don't know, but so my wording would be so that we would have the opportunity to remove the shellfish.
Okay.
Not saying that we're going to or we will,
Yeah.
but they have to. They are not.
They're coming down. Regardless, those are coming down.
They are not allowed to go seaward. In other words, if the existing wall comes out to here, they can't come out 6 inches or 4 inches.
I wouldn't they'd be saying talk to the Blooms about talk to one of the to see.
Yeah.
I mean, he may know a way to do it.
Yeah.
This may be saying they've
Yeah, or
encountered
tell us
before.
that it's not even commercial.
We don't do this, that there's
Is it feasible? Well, even like
Yeah, that's what I'm
There's a
thinking.
lot of them. It was amazing when we went down
Where
there.
do we
There were a
put them?
lot of them.
No, well,
But you're right. Then you decide that it's not
a
worth it.
commercial shellfish
Right.
guy,
to do it. But
Right.
Come in
I guess it's
I
just a
mean,
pocket.
it'd be great. We could take them
'Cause they're
and relocate them, close the
unrestricted
oyster
beds
beds, and
now.
just put
and
them out in our
take them out and
beds.
put them
You know,
on a bed somewhere for a period of
But-
time.
it
You
does
know,
look
you're
like
right,
seriously, yeah.
$6,000, whatever to.
Well, we're not gonna give them any money. They're gonna
Right.
do it at their expense. We won't pay for it.
No.
It doesn't hurt them to scrape them off?
And we'll give them money.
No, nobody will
no.
give the money. In other words, they're getting free oysters.
We're just giving it, we're giving it to them.
Yeah.
But somebody that we have a partnership with that does good things for us, like the Blooms or.
There you go.
Or GMB, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to Gary, I mean, we talked to those people first and see the
Let them
viability.
see what they think.
But,
We're gonna do you a favor, but we might ask for that favor.
Are you
back.
interested? They do enough for us, I think. So I think it's kind of interested to be just like,
Yeah.
do you want this opportunity?
it's,
As a good faith.
it's not gonna be easy.
Right, but also I think you'd make clear too that it's not going to be the commission or the town that's taking the clams, but somebody who we would retain, or not retain, but have somebody
And
else.
they may
come
not
in.
want to just because it's not from a zone, it's not from a place where they could sell them.
No, for example, when they were dredging in Southport, but down by the country club opposite Yee Yacht Yard last year,
Right. Put them in a bed.
they went in there and they scooped up, if there were any shellfish there, and they moved them.
Right.
And
And
who was they? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Somebody
offhand.
like a Gary or?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Somebody. And this is a little bit more complicated because it's behind, the docks are here and with pilings and then the seawall, and you've probably got about 15 feet to maneuver. You can go in there at low tide and have access to it, but it,
Maybe it's too much for them to even try to get them out of there and,
you know,
yeah, maybe you watch.
Intensive.
But yeah, I guess put it into the recommendation that you have that opportunity,
That's
and we can offer that.
right. You know, they do a lot of things that seem like a huge amount of work, and
Do it.
to them, it's not work.
Right,
That's their business.
right, and then they may have power sprayers that they would use to
Yeah, they may.
to remove them off the walls or something like that. So,
So-
do you-
so
do you
I-
need a motion to support that, or from the,
You know, why don't we get a
Just for what? The old,
for make a comment
motion,
back to?
motion that we will comment on the Pequot Yacht Club determination to remove to be notified and given the opportunity.
60 days.
we're making that request.
Is that
I'd make a motion for that.
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good, thank you. I will take care of that
Do you have a ballpark about when they're gonna start?
on the wall. It'll be absolutely a minimum of a year. A year from this fall. The next item is the new boat and motor. As you may have heard, and you received information on this, what I think is an amazing boat, it's a Virginia Harvester. The Awshucks, which is a plywood boat, we've managed to squeeze probably twice its life out of it through
I thought we've been discussing this for a long time.
this boat that Virginia Harvester makes. I asked Sean, how did you even find out about this? He said almost by chance. But if you go to Pacific Northwest or you go to Alaska, you see these welded aluminum boats. These are nothing like a riveted aluminum boat. These are 1/4-inch laser cut aluminum plate that are welded together. And they are bulletproof. If you talk to somebody like Devin Santos with Race, I asked him about these boats and he said, you don't find used ones. They use them for 25 years until they are wrecked and they just scrap them. Tim checked, there are two boats. There's a VH-24, which is 24 feet, and a VH-20, which is 20 feet. Our current boat is in the vicinity, what, Tim, around 20 feet? Something like
Yeah,
that.
that's correct.
One thing that you can do is, if you buy a boat, you have to know where you're going to moor it. And moorings are very, very, very tight in South Benson and Southport. And we have a mooring in Southport, so Tim checked on this, and we can accommodate a 20-foot boat, because that's like what we had before, have now. We cannot accommodate a 24-foot boat. There's no room for it. So that narrows our decision-making, because if you buy this giant car and it won't fit in your garage,
Boat or no boat.
people or nothing.
I mean, the fire department wanted to buy a new boat and thought they were gonna come down with a backhoe and excavate a bigger mooring space. Deep doesn't like you excavating with a backhoe, so we don't wanna be in that position.
So where's the Shellfish boat? Is that the yacht club?
No, it's down off of Perry Green on one of the Perry Green moorings, right?
One
Isn't
of
it?
the, where the ramp is,
Yeah, not by the,
the docks there?
not by those docks right there. Those are
Over-
dinghy,
over
that's a
the
dinghy
river.
dock.
Yeah.
But right off of Perry Green, there are,
Right there, you turn the corner, you'll see it sitting there, the aw shucks,
yeah.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen to the aw shucks?
with a sink.
I don't know, Tim can tell us
There's
about,
nothing left for the aw shucks.
Viking funeral.
Yeah, the shucks is in the backyard behind the conservation workshop right now. But it's has holes in it that you could put your thumb through, and it's just like Bruce said, way beyond its lifetime and beyond repair. It's if it was a car, it would be totally bondo. But it's yeah, it's on the way out. So it is on the it is out.
It's done.
It hasn't been scrapped yet. Just that's a town procedure, but yeah, it'll go to the crusher for sure. So
Is the engine sound, is the engine okay?
the engine has value. Yeah, yep. That'll probably get sold as by the town. I don't think there's a need to keep it. But the quote that I did provide in your packet is dated March 2nd because the quote we had before from Virginia Harvester for the 20-footer was about $2,200 less. So in the almost 7 months that we first quoted, that John Short first quoted it, price went up about $2,200. So as I went before the Board of Finance
Do it.
a week ago,
Need to do it.
I had an accurate quote to make that approach. So still have more meetings and then the RTM. So I think I made the need clear and for use by this commission as well as my department. I think as the record would reflect that splitting the boat comes out to about 17,000 each between the commission and my department operating budget. We get about 10,000, 9 to 10,000 from Save the Sound every year to perform the Unified Water Study in Southport Harbor between May and Halloween. And then we would make the rest up just on some operational budget lines. So I think in the end it'll only of the $34,000 price tag, the town's only going to pay a couple thousand out of pocket. So I think it's attractive to the and highly likely to the boards as we deal with the budget process. But it's still early, so I'm going to remain positive that it'll happen. The next question is if it doesn't happen, we have a problem to perform Shellfish Commission operations, but also my department operations. And, we would basically have to forfeit the grant unless we could find a boat to borrow, which I'm working on. I know the Harbor Management Commission last year approved the boat for the harbor master. I have going to be reaching out to him, to Brian, to see if that borrowing that if necessary is an option since I believe it's town owned. I don't know what the obligations are because he's technically a state employee in that role. But also what's interesting to note is that even if we had the money tomorrow to buy this boat, the Harvester, the lead time as of today, or actually I should say as of last week, is August or September. So that's a problem. Either way, whether we buy it or not, it's we're in trouble for the summer. So either way, I need to find a boat to use in the interim. So just want to let the commission know that's where we stand.
Well, Tim, first I'd like to thank you for carrying the flag to budget and championing the cause. I think that I can tell you that just to put it into perspective, the harbor master boat is going to be in the neighborhood of $60,000, and
It's already on town property. It's in the parking lot at the firehouse.
but what I'm trying to say is the $34,000 is a very, very good price for a boat that I think is incredibly serviceable, which includes a 20-foot boat, center cockpit, steering, engine, all the electrical lights and all that you need, bilge pump, and a very, very rugged commercial boat that I think will serve us for many, many, many years. So I think not only do we need it, but I think it's an ideal boat for what we're doing. There's nothing on that boat that's
Absolutely.
painted except the bottom.
And comes with a motor and a trailer.
Yeah. So it's a complete, ready to roll boat, an aluminum trailer, you know, and so that we will be able to, you know, park it where we need to and so on and so forth. And I think they have very, very good track records. These are used commercially for shell fishing all the time down south. So
So what do we need to do? Do we just need to vote on approving this?
I would like to make a motion that we purchase
We move forward. with
the Virginia Harvester VH20, you know, proportionally with the Conservation Department shared 50/50.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We should have done it before.
Thank you, Tim.
So Tim, is there any other approval you need from the town? I'm sorry, you're talking about the RTM, and I was confused. Do you need to go back to the RTM and get any final approval, or the Board of Finance, or the budget? You mentioned the budget. Do we have to wait till the budget process that takes place in May to do all this?
Yeah, I mean, the fiscal year ends June 30th. I have not gone before the RTM yet. I believe that's either the end of the month or early April. I might be back before Board of Finance. Again, they haven't finished all of their hearings, so they're still going through other departments. I believe next week, and beyond. So, if it, there's a chance I might have to go before other boards again before the RTM. But once the RTM approves, I might be able to, even before June 30th, initiate the deposit and the purchase order. And then once July 1st comes in, the full money is there, and we'd be able to pay the entire bill whenever Virginia Harvester needs different balances. I think they take a deposit and then at some increment another 1 or 2 payments. So sounds like it, September as we stand now. But if this doesn't happen for another month, we might be looking at hoping for before Christmas to take delivery. So I did speak to the son and the owner, very nice people. They pick up the phone, which is nice. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's the right move, and like Bruce said, it's a lot of bang for the dollar, and it's gonna last. We're not gonna be in this position in 7 or 10 years like we are with the wooden boat. That's I wouldn't put my worst enemy in.
All right.
Well, lock it in.
Is it
Lock
new,
up
is it
for
new then,
inflation.
or used, the Virginia? New.
Brand new. It'd come right from the factory. They'd have to build it.
Awesome.
Go on to Virginia Harvester,
Yeah, I know that
And
boat,
don't-
actually. We're boaters, too.
go look at it. I mean, I've never seen.
The workhorses.
Well, thank you, Tim. We'll see where that goes. Next item is the Mill River Wetlands Grant. I sent everybody an email, I don't know,
Oh, great.
you got it?
Yep.
Here's,
That's
they're asking us to write a letter of support,
Thank you.
which they wrote, actually. Uh,
Thank you. Put your name on it?
She said it's good. It looks
But,
good.
but Samantha Anderson is really a delight to work with. She's very, very capable, very supportive. And when I said to her, I said, well, I'd love to, yes, we'd like to do it, but I need to discuss it with the board. On the 11th, I said, does that impact your submittal date for your grant? She said, well, the submittal date is on the 13th, which is the day after tomorrow. I said, well, I told her yesterday, I said, well, I will bring it before the board. So I said, tonight after the meeting, I will tell you it's a go, so she can put it in with the thing. So
What are we voting on?
we are voting on sending a letter of support to Mill River Wetlands for their pending grant. I make a motion, we,
The only question, you only mentioned the Barnum School in the letter. Isn't there another school?
well, she's working on that.
Oh, okay. She says she hopes to add, okay, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying, okay.
She said, I hope to add,
Are we getting money allows them to add more? Good job.
so I think that wasn't nailed down, so she didn't want to put,
I get you, okay, I thought it had.
Did you reach out to the schools, or they reach out to her?
I don't know. We had Barnum last year,
Okay.
and so this is sort of a encore, and I think that they're using this, and as our relationship, our being the Mill River and the Shellfish Commission relationship has grown. They've been doing this for a long time, but they've apparently, because I don't know about the past, but they've updated their whole curriculum as to what they do down at Ash Creek. So what you and the three of us all saw was not what they did 5 years ago. Or, and I think John was involved with it maybe the year before. Last year was the first time that I was involved with it. And Kendra and Hugh were there for part of it too. It's labor intensive. It's probably 12 to 15 hours of time combined. But it's really important.
Yeah, they're the future, the kids.
So I make a motion, we send a letter of
I think
support
Joe
to,
is looking forward to it this year.
I second the motion, but not to what you motion.
Okay.
I second his motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
done. Now, we're going into the legal department. Right, Tim? FOIA.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to, I've done this with conservation in the wetlands at their last meeting and just wanted to do the same with the Shellfish Commission, really to just make sure that you as the commissioners are protected and are aware to not get yourself in a jam as a commissioner, and mostly with ex parte communication. Emails specifically, but I don't think any of your meeting outside of the public meeting, to discuss any business, but really just emails. So protocol wise, I would just suggest that to avoid any FOIA issues down the road, that if you have to communicate with other commissioners about, an agenda item or a question or a need that you are totally in the clear to email me and go through me. If you have to distribute something to the commission, you could do that through me as well, as your intermediary that absolves you from any ex parte communication or potential questionable activity that would involve any type of collusion outside the public venue. So I didn't circulate it, but the town did have a FOIA information session I put on our agenda cloud. There's a slide version, so you don't have to watch the video, or for those of you who can't sleep at night, there's a 90-minute video, a live video recording from the actual town's presentation. So those are both on the cloud should you want to take a deeper dive, but in a nutshell, that's all I wanted to say is to make sure that, in protection of you as commissioners, that you're aware of those types of actions. It's more specific, especially in the regulatory sense with the Inland Wetland Agency, that's statutory and regulatory, so they can't talk about an application outside the public meeting, that kind of thing, which isn't so much of a big issue here, but still applies. No one wants to get into like a FOIA investigation or ethics issue. So we got new commissioners. I just wanted to bring that up, let you know that it's there, and that's really it.
Well, thank you for that. And actually, Tim, when Alex put out our cloud information for this meeting, she did include the link to that FOIA presentation, so that we've got the YouTube, if you go onto that cloud link that she sent, within that is all the stuff that you have sitting in front of you, plus the FOIA hour and a half show discussion presentation, plus the PowerPoint deck. So it's all right there.
And they have,
It's all there.
I've been to
It's
these
pretty basic,
FOIA
but I
meetings myself twice.
people been there.
They seem to have, I'm sorry, Tim, but with the FOIA, I've been to them twice because I was on another commission before that. They're actually very helpful. Because when you think of freedom of information, you don't think of communications among commissioners here. But it's, the name is a little deceiving because it's not, when I think of freedom of information, I think of something where I can get information about what's going on. No, this is really procedural stuff as far as how the commission handles its own internal matters. It's not only here, but it's every commission. And they have them every year, and they always invite the commissioners to go. And I would say next time you may want to go, because I'm an attorney by background, so I find these fascinating to go to. So maybe it's just me, but they are very helpful. And thank you, Tim, for bringing that up, because it makes it easier for us if we can use him as the buffer.
Poor Tim.
Yeah, don't be shy. It's my job, and again, to, protect everybody and make sure that everything's transparent and done in the public meeting and not outside the public meeting. So, again, if you got to email to share communications or information with attachments, or, hey, can you add this to the agenda? Just make sure it's to me first, and then I could either circulate it and then we're in the clear, or, put it on the agenda myself, or run it by the chair or whatever. So just so as long as there's
Thank
no
you.
Thank you.
reply all or.
I just didn't want to put a lot of stuff on your inbox, but now
Yeah,
I'll load it up.
I was just saying, poor Tim.
I've got great staff to help, so don't worry about overloading me.
Okay.
okay, well, we won't, but we will follow your suggestions, thank you. Informational, any informational? Anything else?
You want to talk about the volunteers, or you want to?
Oh,
do it another
yeah.
time?
Oh, informational, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up, because last time I had been approached by two groups. One is a fellow who handles the Boy Scouts and the Sea Scouts, and another one from Fairfield U as far as the campus ministry, volunteers to work on some of our projects. And I haven't heard anything more from Fairfield University, but Bruce and I met with the fellow from the Boy Scouts and got a little bit more information today. And basically, I think we would come back we're thinking of having just an experiment to see if we can use some of the volunteers. Because I think at our last meeting, we talked
For
about
the clinic.
having we don't want the volunteers to come and just sit around and do nothing. So
Right.
we thought, let's see if we can utilize them, because there was, at the last meeting, there seemed to be a little bit of interest to use volunteers. So that's why we thought the clinic would be a testing ground. We were going to try with one of the Boy Scout troops to see if they could be helpful as far as, setting things up or taking things down or what have you. And if
great
it
idea.
works, then maybe we could use it for some of our other projects. If it doesn't work, okay, then we,
Oh,
Well,
I think it's a great idea.
and Lizette, in the past, John has had kids helping. I don't know where they come from, but
They've been like, his son's friends.
yeah.
And I think other volunteers who have brought their children. But they tend to be, old enough to help out. I mean, as far as like setting up those big tents and things like that, do we want kids doing that? I don't know.
Well, one of the things that we talked about today,
They are Boy Scouts.
well,
Yeah, but
no,
they get injured. But if they get injured, they get injured. They're at our event.
but
like,
what
helping
we were
things like
talking
that.
about specifically today was having, it's a parent and a child. So in other words, they would be paired,
So we've used volunteers more for situations like that, like when we did the spat collectors, because we need a lot of people and it's easy to do. They're knocking the shell off.
Yeah.
We've always welcomed volunteers at the clam clinics, people who are, kind of like our longtime clammers to come out and, sometimes it's old commission members to come out and help show people, be out in the water with rakes,
Yeah.
showing people how it's done, walking around, helping those people, because you always have a few people who are just having no luck to go out there and help those people.
So they come back with something, yeah.
Yeah, like we've used them for things like that. I feel like we've had more of that type of thing. Putting in the spat collectors, because that's, band work. Like, you're going out there spreading shell. You can get people to come out, but you're talking about muscle there. And
Yeah.
you can't have a ton of people spreading shell because they're going out on the boats or whatever. Although, right now that's not even an option. But
Well, one of the other things we talked about was, preparing the spat collectors, because John is always.
exactly, stuff like that.
And so that could be a project that.
Yeah, exactly. And having the boys help carry them all down. So one person, you get a couple, hopefully John will come out and help. He
Yeah.
will. I know he will. But so they can be kind of, shuffling them back and forth on the sleds to be put in the ground and then taking the sled back. And that'd be great to have, young, strong boys to do that would be fantastic.
And the relay too. Taking the clams out and.
Well, those.
No, because the relay, they're on the boat.
You're on the boat. I think that would be a little,
Can't be on the boat.
but this
You don't have
thing,
room for a bunch of kids on the boat.
Well, it's
John
on.
does it John does it typically with
Yeah, I'm
a
fine.
couple of conservation people,
That's good.
And
and
it's,
they're just
I understand.
and part of the issue is some of the things that we're doing are during school hours. So in other words, the kids aren't available.
right.
So, we're scratching our heads and, your comments are helping us. We're trying to think of things that would keep the kids busy, but not put them at risk and not making them twiddle their thumbs. I
Right.
mean, it was mentioned
for
that,
a couple events.
because a lot of the Boy Scouts, it was mentioned, come to Tim. Tim is a big resource for a lot of the scouts to go, what can we do as a project? Whether it's cleaning something up or horseshoe crabs or whatever it may be.
I
So-
know Cindy's son never finished his eco project, did he? Did he finish his?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
but to get back, we thought with the clinic would be a good trial, see if it works. If it does work with volunteers, then maybe we could have them come back with the.
But you have them, handing out bags of ice.
Exactly.
Things like all those kind of
Save-
smaller things, yeah.
Yeah,
Giving
I don't
food
think
again.
you need a large group. I think you just need a few
Oh,
people.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah,
That's why we're limiting it to one troop, and maybe there'll be like
and just a
half
few
dozen.
people within a troop.
Because, yeah.
Yeah,
Because a lot of
I
these boys,
understand what
a lot of these boys
you
will
said,
also
saying
have
that last
conflict
year.
also
There
with
was a
them.
lot of
Exactly.
interaction with the
Yeah.
You'll have a lot of these boys will have conflicts on like the weekends when we're doing things with sports anyway.
I gotta go. I'm mindful of
Okay.
time.
Okay.
I do too.
Thank you for
Thank-
coming.
Yeah.
Are we,
so I think we're going to try to utilize a small group of them at the clinic and see if it works. And if not, but if it does, then we can use them for other projects that you mentioned. Probably would be more of interest to them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they'll dabble of everything.
It's fun, a fun idea. And
So-
again, they're the future, so we want them to
And
be
maybe that's where we
interested
get
in
our
this.
junior commissioners.
Yeah,
Exactly. Especially if you have these middle school kids who are then presented with the aquaculture school and they think, maybe that's something I want to do.
Yeah.
You have the big Yukon thing up at Avery Point. It's Roger Williams has a
They're
big,
great.
Yeah, Laura's daughter went to agriculture school.
yeah, she said.
So, any other further public informational discussion?
And for me,
Any other comments, thoughts, ideas? We have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Tim.
Good night, Tim, thank you.
Night, everybody. Thank you.